and welcome to Rita's Paper Motif. Today I wanted to share with you some projects I've made using our 2025 to 2027 in colors. And I think you're going to like a couple of the projects. Before we get started though, I wanted to introduce myself. I'm Rita. I love to create card designs, scrapbook pages, and 3D projects. I share them with you in hopes that it will inspire you to create and share your creations with those that matter in your life. So, as I said, today we're talking about the 2025 to 2027 in colors. And while they have been with us since May of 2025, they are now on sale, 15% off. So, any of the products that are with or contain the in colors are 15% off. Now, my mini series is going to run from yesterday through Saturday, but the sale will last until the 31st of August. So you do have a time to take part of the sale, but I did also want to share with you that I have some prizes that I'll be sharing with you and I'll talk about those as we go on. But I just wanted, that's why I'm coming to you today. I just wanted you to know. Now, um, so sometimes we think maybe that the sale is only on like the in color cardstock and ink, maybe, but it's not. So it's not, the sale is not just on um, the in color cardstock, ink, refills, and markers, but it's also some of the designer series paper that has the in colors in it are also on sale. So I just prepared this little flyer um, to introduce to you or to bring to the forefront of some of the other items other than just the color cardstock and ink. So we have the Florals in Bloom designer series paper. We have the celebratory sips. We have the Floral Impressions designer series paper. Those are all 15% off. So right now they're going for $10.63, which is a really good deal. And then also we have, of course, the flat pearls, which I'll be using today and used yesterday. These include all of the in colors. And as you know, they have adhesive on the back. So that's a great thing because it is easier to use the adhesive backed pearls. And then also we have our markers. So there's a marker for each one of the colors in our in color family. And then also the ribbon. So each color has a ribbon that is that color, and they are on special right now as well. So it looks like I printed that price pretty small, but that is $6.50 for a spool of ribbon. So those are really great to have when you're creating, because it just adds that sense of texture to your cards. So I wanted to tell you about that. I also want to tell you that if you're watching here on Facebook, please consider following me. Um, and if you're watching on YouTube, please consider subscribing to my channel. Now, I did want to just quickly tell you that all your likes and comments do help our channel to grow. So um, I appreciate it when you help me grow my channel. All right, so let's talk about what we're doing today. So these are the in colors that we have right now. And this is Cloud Cover, Secret Sea, Darling Duckling, Timid Tiger, and Strawberry Slush. Today I'm going to show you projects that I made using the Darling Duckling along with some color combinations. Now, the color combinations I um, got from these little color charts, and actually the color charts come in, there's 6 to a page, 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper, and it just gives you all different combinations that you can use to create your project. So there's 3 different combinations, and you can choose which one you want to use. And even though they're designed with the color theories behind them, I'm not going to get into the color theories today because I have a lot to show you. But this is just an easy way to combine the colors that you probably already have in your craft space and make some darling projects. No pun intended for the darling duckling there, but this is a larger, this is obviously it's been zoomed out, but this is what we're going to work with today. And I did want to tell you that I am giving a whole set of these color charts away if you make a purchase between yesterday and Saturday, so August 5th through August 9th. If you make, or 10th, I should say, if you make a purchase of $50 or more, then I'm going to send you all of these color charts, and then you can cut them up and you can laminate them like I did, or however you might want to store them. Put them in a notebook. However you organize these kinds of things is truly up to you. But I would do that for free for a purchase of $50 or more in my online store. And you can go to my online store by going to ritaspapermotif.com. So this is what we're going to deal with today with the Darling Duckling. Now, this is not a color that I would gravitate towards. It reminds me of Grey Poupon, but I have got a new respect for it since I've been working on projects with that today. So another thing I wanted to share with you is that for today's project that we'll make together, I am using a card sketch. Now, usually I wait till the weekend to use card sketches because I like to take a card sketch and whatever I'm creating and create a card, and hoping that you'll realize that card sketches can, be useful in many ways. Maybe you have um, scraps that you want to use up. Maybe you just want a different idea. Maybe you just want to change it all up. So this is quite helpful. So this is the card sketch that I'm basing the card I wanted to create with you today. So let's get going on that. So the card I wanted to create with you today is this card right here. And so if you look at that color chart, you see that in the second row, it says that Darling Duckling goes very well with Coastal Cabana or Melon Mambo. And so those are the colors that I used in this card today. And I did want to make it with you. So let's go ahead and get started. So first of all, we'll take out all of our parts here. And then we'll talk sizes and measurements. But I did want you to know that these measurements can all be found at the website. It does take me a couple of days to get those all up there, along with the links of where you can purchase them. So yeah, that's there. All right, so let's go ahead. And then of course the envelope. Let's go ahead and talk about these pieces. So I did go ahead and print out a the sizing here. So I'll just kind of read off of it. So we have an 8.5 by 5.5 piece of cardstock that I've scored in the middle at 4.25, and we would just crease it at that fold line and take our bone folder and just secure that fold. And so then it becomes an A2 size card, and the measurements are 4.25 by 5.5. And then I took a piece of the designer series paper that is again on a sale. So it's the Florals in Bloom. So on one side of our designer series paper, it will have usually a print or a theme. On the opposite side, it will have maybe a print or something a little more subdued. So you can see that the designer series paper I'm using is the one right here. And here's what it looks like when it's cut up. And this designer series paper is 3 3/4 by 5 inches. And then I did take a piece of basic white, and this is 4 by 3. I took this piece of basic white and I ran it through um, the eyelet 3D folder, which gives it all this great texture. And so this is going to sit right on top here. And then this is the insert for the inside. So obviously, um, it's not easy to, well, you can write on the cardstock if you want, but it always stands out a little more when you put it on some basic white. And so that's what this insert is for. And then we have some strips here. So these are all out of the colors that we're going to put together with this Darling Duckling. And these measure um 3.5 inches by 1 inch. And I will tell you, when you look at the card sketch, I have deviated the sizes because these are a little smaller and I wanted them um, to stand out a little more. And then we're going to stamp on these pieces of basic white, and these measure 3 3/4. I'm sorry, three. Oh my gosh. Let's see here. What do they measure? Because I know they don't measure that. So these are 3 1/4 by 3/4, and that's what these are. So you need 3 of those. And then we have a piece of Darling Duckling, which is a 2 by 4. And then we have a piece of basic white, which is 1 3/4 by 3 3/4. So let's go ahead and start doing what we need to do. These are all cut out. Let's just go ahead and do our stamping and our gluing, and um, then we'll get going on that. So let's start with that insert. So you can definitely put a sentiment in that insert if you want. I'm not going to put one right now, but I do want to stamp on it. So I'm going to take the stripes and dots, which I'm using today, and I'm going to take this stamp right here, and I am going to just put it on my block. I need to get my block here. So we're going to go ahead, and I need the bigger one, longer one. And so I'm just going to go ahead and stick it on there. And I am going to use Coastal Cabana ink. You could use Darling Duckling, you could use Melon Mambo, but I just wanted to use this color. So I'm going to take the ink to the stamp. If it was a smaller stamp, I would take the stamp to the ink. And I'm going to just go ahead and stamp the bottom here, because this will decorate our the inside of our card, right? And so I'm just going to wipe off here, because we don't want any ink on the rest of our card. And so I'm going to go ahead. I'm using liquid glue, multi-purpose liquid glue. This is not the adhesive of preference, but it's great for the videos because it gives me a moment to manipulate any pieces I might need to. All right, and I'm going to place this on the inside, and I'm going to try and make sure I have an equal margin all the way around. And then we'll go ahead and firm it up there. And then I'm going to start working on this. So you can see that the opposite side of this piece of designer series paper is very floral, but I like this because it brings out colors that also go with Darling Duckling. So Lolly Lime, which is one of those that we saw here, and Pumpkin Pie, those are definitely colors that go with Darling Duckling. So I am going to use this as my bottom layer on my card, and then I am going to take this piece of basic white that has been embossed, and I'm just going to layer it on here. Now this measurement is a little bit different in that normally the first layer that I put right onto my card is normally 5 by 5.5. This happens to be 3 3/4 by 5, and that's because I'm featuring the combination, so I want a little bigger margin all the way around. But let's go ahead and put this on here. And I am also using the liquid glue because this is very textured, and so if I used my Stamp and Seal, it may not get in all those cracks where the liquid glue will. And we're just going to go ahead and um, again, I'm trying to get this equal margins all the way around. And I have a little bit of time to just kind of manipulate it. So that's kind of nice too, because it's when you're looking at all 4 different directions or all 4 different sides, it kind of may take a little bit of effort here to get this how you want it. Okay, so there we are. I'm just going to put it to the side because now we're going to work on these white pieces. So while I have the coastal cabana out, I am going to remove that stamp, and actually maybe I should just stamp the stamp. While I have the stamp on, maybe I should just stamp it and then I don't have to get it out again. So we'll set that aside. We'll use our Darling Duckling, and then we're going to stamp on this white, basic white. So I'll move that out of the way before I get it all over. And we'll just put it right on this little strip here. Try to get this straight. So I'm using the grid lines on my glass surface here. And so we see that's not quite in the middle, but that's okay. I'm going to trim it. So let's go ahead and clean this off, and then I can put the stamp up. Because the other stamp that I want that I'm going to do with the Coastal Cabana is this polka dot stamp. And so let me just get that ready. We're going to get this cleaned up. And I want to trim this while we're here. So this is going to be a little bit more narrow than the other strips, but we'll work with it. Okay, there we go with that. And maybe I'll just go ahead and glue it on the Darling Duckling because I may need to trim the Darling Duckling too. Let's see here. Okay, let's go ahead and trim this just a little bit, just a hair. I love my trimmer. I trim and score with this just because I don't like taking out a lot of tools all the time. So this is kind of something that I can do. Okay, that was just a hair there. All right, let's go ahead and finish these strips. So we're going to take our polka dots and we're going to use the Coastal Cabana. And I'm taking again the ink pad to the stamp. And we're just going to stamp this. Now the stamp is clearly bigger than the strip. And so that kind of, it doesn't, you don't have to be as careful to line it up because it's obviously going to cover that whole area. Okay, and then we can put that stamp set back and the ink back. Okay, and the next stamp set that we're going to use is this striped stamp set. And this stamp set is in our, I believe it's online exclusives. Okay, and we're going to take the Melon Mambo ink and use that. So we're going to take, again, the ink to the stamp. And right here on this little strip again. Again, this is bigger than or wider than the strip, so just, it will get that whole strip. And with this particular stamp, I do have sometimes felt that you have these little parts that don't quite stamp, but I think that gives it kind of a touch, so I'm not going to worry about it. If you have a stamp positioner, you could definitely use that. Or sometimes I find with the glass surface that your or while I'm doing videos even, that I'm not stamping head on kind of thing. All right, so we're going to put that stamp set to the side for now and get this ink up. And now we're going to go ahead and glue all these strips to the appropriate strip of designer series paper. And so here we go with that. So I feel kind of like this card sketch is pretty simple, but you know, simple for me is sometimes just what I want, because but I do like layers, and I do sometimes just like to dress up my cards a lot. So but this one I find is a little bit intriguing and quite colorful. So let's see here. Okay, and so let's go ahead and stamp on this white piece, because that's where our sentiment is going to live. And I wanted to show you the stamp set I'm using for that. I'm using the Hello stamp from Everyday Arches. I just really like that stamp, so I use it a lot. And I'm just grabbing this block. Clearly you could use the square block. And I'm going to take the Melon Mambo again. And the reason, one of the reasons I'm using this longer block is because this is kind of narrow, and it can offer an optic illusion. So you think you're stamping straight, but you're, you know, you see all these lines and stuff. It can be create an illusion. So I am going to use the lines though to line up my stamp. And so I'm looking at this dotted line here, and I want both ends of that stamp to sit right there. And there we go. And I just really like that hello. Sometimes it's great to just have kind of like a generic stamp that you can use for anything. So if you're not creating a thank you card, you're not creating a birthday card, it's kind of nice to have options. And that's what I feel this offers. So we can go ahead and attach or adhere. And I see I have some Melon Mambo ink, so very soon I'm going to need to clean that up. And whoop. Okay, let's see here. Okay, let's just clean this up. I'm getting nervous about having ink on my hands. And we have a lot of traffic in our area here, so I'm sorry for the background. Okay. All right, let's start putting together here. So I wanted to take, and I'm looking at my card that I initially did. I'm going to put the Darling Duckling Then I'm going to put the Coastal Cabana, and I'm also going to put the Melon Mambo. And I want this to sit right on it. So I'm going to move this up a little. Because just like I said, I know right where I want it. So that will work. We'll get that straight. And then this can just sit below it. Now when I did this, I cut the strips a little shorter, but I think I do like them a little longer. But that is something when you have a card sketch, you can definitely edit and make it work for you. That's the whole idea of a card sketch. It's just to give you a map or an idea. And then we're going to put this on top of here. I am going to go ahead and put this on my card base though. Because we're getting very close to being finished. Oh, before I do that, I really do need to secure this fold. Okay. So I like how that's sitting, and we're going to take some dimensionals, and we're going to put a dimensional on each corner. And I will tell you that I do like to use my dimensionals. So I'll be very honest with you. You may find that you need to use less than I do. But if I'm going to send something through the postal service, I want to be sure that when they're sorting the mail and it goes through that machine, that it doesn't end up being all wonky. So, and it's not such a issue if you, if what you're mailing requires 2 stamps, then usually it's hand sorted, so it may not go through that machine. But I just like to be safe rather than sorry. So then we're going to go ahead and place this wherever you want to place it. And I want to make sure it's straight. That looks pretty straight to me. And what I've done beforehand is I did some die cutting. So I have some leaves that are Coastal Cabana, and yes, I know leaves aren't usually this color, but we can always use our imagination. And then I cut, so I'm going to show you where I got those. When you subscribe to the Paper Pumpkin, it's a monthly subscription. And every quarter, you'll get a set of dies that coordinate with those Paper Pumpkin kits. And so I keep them, I put them on my magnetic sheets and in this envelope. And because they're smaller sets of dies, I can get 2 sets on a sheet, and then I just label them. But I don't store these with my stamps from the Paper Pumpkin because I use these all the time. And so I just pull them out when there's something in there I remember I want, and I pull them out. So I did use this die for the yellow flowers, and this die for the little pink ones, or Melon Mambo, I should say. And then I just put them back on their magnetic sheets and close it up, and there I go. And so at this point, we can put our flowers wherever we want. And if you feel your flowers, you can feel that on the die cut, this is like the back side, it's flatter. This has a little bit of texture. And so I'm going to take my glue dots. So these are small little round glue dots, and I'm going to use these to attach my flowers on to my card. I'm also going to just take a little bit of glue, and I'm going to figure out where I want my leaves, and then I'm going to decorate around it. So I'll put a little glue here on this leaf. And if you want to, oh, that's not a little. If you want to use one of those precision bottles, you can, but I find that if I'm careful, which I need to practice being careful with this glue, because um, it was a learning curve with this glue, because it's one of those things that less is more. And this is a new bottle of glue, so it does come out a little more quickly, and so I have to really adjust the pressure that I'm putting on this when I squish it out. So I'll just put those there, and then I'm going to decorate. So not all the leaves have glue on them, and that's okay. And then I'll just take the Darling Duckling flowers, and I'll put a glue dot right in the middle. And with this particular die, it does leave like some little indentations that look like the middle of a flower. And I'm going to put this, I don't want it um, right in the middle here. So I'm just going to put it right there. And I'm going to go ahead and put the other yellow or Darling Duckling down here. And you can even see that these two cards are a little different as far as the flowers, but that's okay. So I'm going to put that right there, and then I don't need that. And then I am still going to use the glue dots for these little flowers. So you can see that if you save your dies or use them quite often, they become quite useful in all aspects. So when these sales happen, like with the in color sales that's going on right now, it's kind of nice to get things at a discount so that you have them when you want them. So let's see here. I'm almost finished. So a couple more. We'll put 2 more down here. You could also use the glue if you wanted to. I just find that these glue dots are easier, and I hope I was in the camera range there. Let's see here. So one more. Okay, so there we go. So now these 2 cards are almost finished. I will tell you that now is the time we want to be adding our bling, right? And so I knew that that was there. Let me kind of clean up. So we can definitely use the flat pearls. That is definitely something we could use. But you also, now is the time that you could check into your stash and see what you have. So I am going to do that, and I see that in my stash that I have some of these past. This is actually something for celebration, but these are clear and they take on whatever color is with them. So or near them. So I'm going to take some of these and just put them in the middle of my pink flowers. So it just gives them, or melon mambo flowers. And so it just gives them a little bit of iridescence and bling. And because I have a lot of texture going on, I didn't feel I needed to put string or ribbon. So it depends on how you decorate yours, because you could definitely do that if you wanted to. And now I like to put on my adhesive dots in odd numbers. So I have 5 there. So if I'm going to add some bling, which I'd like to add some more Darling Duckling. So let's take a small one and add it right here. I'm going to add 2 more. And so I want to get the biggest bang for my buck here, kind of thing. So I'll put a bigger one here. And you can see with the flat pearls that you get different sizes. You get the large, the medium, and the small. And so now I have an odd number of adhesive dots there. And then I have this envelope, and something I have maybe as of late not been as good as showing you. I haven't shown you as well as I should have. We're going to decorate this. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a piece of scrap paper and I'm going to lay it down. I'm going to take my envelope. I'm going to get that acrylic block out again. And I'm going to want to put the same design, which is those little lines, but I'm going to do it. Yes, I'm going to do it with Coastal Cabana, and I'm just going to do it on the end part that flips over on the envelope. So here we go with that. So in the comment section below, if you feel like you want to, go ahead and let me know which of the end colors is your favorite. Is it the Strawberry Slush, Secret Sea, Cloud Color? Okay, so here we go. So we're just going to, I am actually just going to go like this. Now this is a little harder on a video to get it completely straight, but you can see that I have those strips. Now I am going to, excuse me, I am going to fix this because that would drive me just nuts. And so it's not, it just is giving my envelope just a little bit of color. And so there we go. And I think we're finished with that. And then you can also do that right on the bottom if you wanted to. So that's kind of a fun thing to do, is to just put this. I might not do both of these things on my envelope because that is a lot of movement, but you know, you can make it work. So I'll just put that like that, and there we go. So a couple options on your envelope, whichever you'd like to do, or both if you like. So there's our envelope. Here's our card. Now I'm thankful that you're sticking with me because I want to show you some of these other projects. So there's that card. I also wanted to show you this little notepad. And so this is using the Darling Duckling. It's using the designer series paper, and I don't even know why or how I had this pen, but it fits perfectly. And so it's like just a little notepad that you can give as a gift. And so I have a notepad in here. You can get these at Staples or Walmart or Amazon. And these are easy to create. So if you like this, check the blog in a couple of days and you'll definitely be able to find it. And of course, I used my beloved Spotlight on Nature dies for this. And Just a Note is another stamp set. I believe it's in the annual catalog. So there's that. That's a 3D project. It is fun. And then I also created this card. So I did just use my Spotlight of Nature dice to cut a hole, and then I took the larger size to do like a frame, and then I stamped on the inside, and then this is part of the well, I do want to show those to you. Let's see here. It is part of the Pretty Floral Thighs, and so if you can use these, and they give texture So they can go just alone, stand alone, or you could use them like I did, like a bloom. And for the stem, I did stamp that, and I also used um, I'm getting it, sorry, this a stamp right here for the standalone stem and then the leaves. So I just brought in a lot of stamp sets to get what I wanted. And then also you can see that this designer series paper is the same designer series paper that we used for our card today. So there's that. And we also know from the very last part of that color chart that Darling Duckling, Misty Moonlight, and Real Red are very compatible. So I took the Just a Note dies. I love these. They're great for scrapbooking. And I did the Darling Duckling paper clip. This is this die right here. And then I did there's a stamp set that goes with it, Just a Note. And so we did the lines for that piece of basic white in Real Red. And then Just a Note is what I did right here. Now this card is a 4x4, so these are like just little note cards. I did something different on the inside. So I figured if you're going to be writing a note, you're going to have maybe a lot you want to say. And so those lines just help you to keep it straight. And so that's what that is. But this is a 4x4 card, so it would take a little bit of a different envelope. But I wanted to show that to you. And so here are a bunch of different options. They're all very doable, and it's all using the Darling Duckling and any of its coordinating friends or compatible friends that you might want to use. So I hope that you enjoyed today. And I did want to just interject one little thing. Yesterday when I did my video, I used these Velcro dots. I don't suggest them. Um, just because for me, if you watch that video, I did struggle with them, and that after you struggle with them so much, then that fuzzy stuff starts to peel, and I just am not comfortable with them. But I did look through my stash, and I found these Velcro strips that I cut, and they work much better. That's what I used on this. I didn't have to struggle with them. They come out off easily, I should say. So you can just peel them off of this release paper right here, and you can cut them to whatever size you need. So whether it's a strip or a chunk, you can do that. So I just wanted to share that with you because it was such a struggle yesterday. So I hope you enjoyed today's video, and thank you for joining me, and know that you can check all of the measurements and what you might need to know by going to readispapermotif.com. And above all, I want you to know that the ultimate compliment for me is when you share this video. So have a great day, and we'll see you back here tomorrow. Thanks.